Welcome to A Taste of Theater, where everyone is a star. This is the place where playwrights from around the country will come to showcase one scene of their play. Today's star is shining bright on Toni Seger of Lavelle, Maine. We will see a clip of her play, Ropes of Sand.
Welcome to A Taste of Theater, where everyone is a star. Today's star is shining bright on Toni Seger of Maine.
Well, I'm actually living in a very small town called Lovell.
Lovell.
I'm
Maine.
actually on the edge of the national forest, so I'm not in any kind of city.
Wow. And we're going to see a clip of her play, Rope of Sand. Toni, please kindly introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. I have watched a couple of the shows that you posted, and it's a very interesting and it's a wonderful idea to talk to playwrights about why they find theater so exciting. They want to try to do this.
Yes.
I've been writing plays for well over 30 years. I find playwriting the most challenging kind of writing. I've written novels, short stories, many other kinds of writing, but playwriting, theater is my very first love, and playwriting is something that's very near and dear to me, and I also consider it the most difficult writing, because all you have is dialogue. And it's the kind of thing that you can kind of struggle with for a very long time before you find your way through a play. You know, you can really hit a lot of brick walls. But it's writing that I love to do. I've written 16 plays now, and there's nothing more exciting to me than live theater and seeing your own work performed.
Wow, that is so true. And what started you writing plays?
Well, I was involved in theater as a young person. My bachelor's is in theater. I loved all aspects of it, from building sets and makeup and costumes to directing and producing and acting. There's no aspect of theater I don't love. So it's just something that maybe in another life I was in theater.
And thank God in this life you still are.
That's right. That's right. Still trying to be.
And when you started 30 years ago writing in theater, what was the drive that kept you going to continue in this path?
Well, it's something that, you know, in me that I want to communicate, and I want to communicate about difficult subjects. When you write in theater, it's all dialogue. There's no description you can hide behind. It's dialogue. So your people have to really go at it in situations that they find themselves in and they conflict in. And dealing with difficult subjects in that was something that really, really appealed to me, the kinds of things that perhaps I wanted to see in theater and I wanted to see challenged. I also find that when my characters aren't talking, I sometimes introduce alcohol. In Rope of Sands, they do drink quite a bit, but it helps them talk more.
And tell me, how did you come up with this play, Rope of Sand?
That started with, you always start with something in your life that actually, there's a piece of it that gets you started, and then you expand from that to other things. And that's what I did. I started with a certain frustration I had, and I started with certain conversations, and I thought after a while, okay, you've got some pretty exciting conversations here. You don't have a play. And then it was a real struggle finding the core of that play. Why are these conversations happening? What is this conflict about? You know, what's actually happening there before it was born? And actually finding the title, which is from a poem by George Herbert, "Forsake thy cage, thy rope of sands." That is what broke it open, and I suddenly knew this is what the play is about, freeing yourself from artificial constraints. Now I know what I want to say.
Wow, that is awesome. Wow, I mean that right there was a very it's like Oprah would say, an aha moment for me right there.
It was an aha moment. Yes, it was. It was.
And can you tell me some of the characters in this play?
There's a father and son, and then a kind of a ditzy cousin. Well, she's somewhat nonconformist. The father and son are very, very conservative, suburban father and son, upscale and so forth. The cousin, she sort of lived a very different kind of life. She's sort of the black sheep, and this family has been visited by a terrible tragedy. The father and son who have gotten together on this occasion have lost the youngest sibling who committed suicide.
Oh,
and
wow.
They're completely distraught over this. They don't understand it, but something in them prevents them from really talking about it. So even though you can feel that they emotionally want to talk about it, they can't. And so they keep putting all these barriers up. When the cousin arrives with certain mementos that she wanted to give to her uncle, that her cousin left with her the last time he visited, she breaks the whole thing open. She's just different. She just keeps bringing up subjects that they don't want to talk about, and everybody keeps drinking, and it just gets hotter and hotter. So I was also observing the classical unities, time, place, and action. So everything heats up very, very fast and explodes very, very fast.
And I noticed in your play that you also added dynamics of race in there as well.
Well, this happened completely accidentally, and it was fascinating. A production was done of this play in New York, and the director, Renee Rodriguez, who had directed several of my 10-minute plays, is kind of famous for rainbow casting. And she came to me and she said, "How would you feel about a mixed race family?" And I thought, I never thought about that at all. I mean, I wrote a play about a white family. But I thought, I trust Renee. She's a fabulous director. If there's something that she's seeing here she wants to do, I'll just go with it. I said, "Renee, just cast the best people, do a great job, I'll be happy." And she blew my mind because the conservative father and son, she made black. And the cousin who comes and upsets the apple cart was white. So she turned the expectation, she turned the whole thing upside down, and it created a whole new play within a play I never even thought of. And here it was happening, and it was fabulous. And race is never mentioned in the play because I didn't write it. But there it is on the stage. And when I talked to the actors about it, they said, "Yeah, we were aware of this dynamic." And it created a whole nother level of tension and an edge to it and a bite that, and it just, I felt that it actually improved the play. It became my favorite production of any of my plays that ever been done. Because it taught me something about how, you write a play, you think you've written it, and then you see a production and you realize, oh, there's an interpretation that never occurred to me. And it puts a whole nother layer on it. I thought it was fabulous. So it was very exciting. And the play was nominated for 3 awards, so I was excited about that too.
That is awesome. And can you tell me, what is it that you want everyone to walk away with after seeing this play?
Well, there are no easy answers. And this family is grappling with some really, really hard realities. And they're really struggling with them. And they're fighting, looking at them. And it's almost like it's something to watch for. You might see a piece of yourself and say, "Look at that. There's something that I want to deal with and I'm not getting down to." And you can see how these people, they're not helping themselves. They're fighting themselves. Wow. And I think that really does come out in the play. And that was one of the things. That's why that title is so important, because the whole idea of freeing yourself from artificial constraints.
Wow. And was there something that people walked away with as a result of this new interpretation from the director that you didn't think was part of the production? Or was
No,
it there?
I felt the lines were great, and I thought the actors did a great job. It was a revelation for me to see a whole nother layer
Mm-hmm.
in this, and to see it work so well. And also because I just found it just amusing that the father and son, who were very conservative,
Yeah.
suburban, with the black, that I thought was a terrific twist. Terrific twist.
And what other aspects about Ropes of Sand do you want the audience to grasp as a result of seeing this play? Like, what specifically do you want them to let go of?
Well, in the play, what the niece is trying to convey is that she's a painter, and she was in such despair over this suicide that she actually painted the noose, which her uncle
Wow.
thought was horrifying.
Yeah.
But it was because she read this poem, and she thought the whole idea here is that it's made of sand. It can fall apart. You can free yourself. You don't have to submit yourself to the constraints that you think you're all bound up in. And she found that so freeing. That was the thing that sent her off to visit her uncle and tell him that, she actually comes to see him because she says, I want to give you this. It's a gift. I want to tell you this. And of course, he can't accept it at all.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks she's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, with that one little piece of information, handing a noose.
Well, it's a painting. She actually.
Yeah, even a painting.
Right.
That adds a whole nother dynamic to it.
That's a whole other dynamic. It wasn't welcome news either, I can tell you. But that's the way I wrote it. But I was thinking of people who find themselves so trapped by their lives. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yes.
Yes, and they think that I must be happy because look, I'm affluent. Look at all these things I have. Look where I live. I must be, but they know they're not. Mm-hmm. They know that they feel trapped in their life, and so she was trying to bring this message to her uncle. You can be free. You can throw off these artificial constraints, and you can see her struggling with him to get this across, and he rejects it in every way he can.
Wow! And how long did the play run?
It was part of the this production was part of the Planet Connections Festival in New York and ran a couple of weeks.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah. So it was very, very exciting, and I take my hat off to Renee. She's just a terrific director.
And how there'll be plenty of people watching this all across the country, and some of them may desire to, say, reach out to you. Is there a website that people can find you at? Or an email address that someone could possibly write you a message?
Yes. Well, if they go to workingwords.me, they'll just basically see a splash screen of some of the things that we have, some of our other writing that's available on the web, and there is an email for me there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay.
All right. And you've been doing this now for 30 years, and I'm quite sure there's a lot of things you've learned in this business. So what types of things would you like to share with so up-and-coming playwrights can possibly one day sit in your shoes 30 years with 30 years experience?
Don't give up, and don't think you're the only one who finds this form of writing very, very challenging, because it is. And when you get stuck, do something else and come back. Do something else and come back. Just keep coming back, and look at your work with fresh eyes, and you'll find your way through it. But try not to forget that everybody who does any kind of creative writing struggles with it, because it's very, very hard. I mean, when it comes to you play all the parts. You design the whole thing. You create the whole dynamic, and that isn't easy. That isn't easy. So don't give up.
Well, that's great advice. That is really good advice. And also, I always say every playwright has a ministry to serve. What would you say yours is?
I do have a drive to communicate, and to communicate things that perhaps other people are trying not to look at. And this play, I think, that we've talked about illustrates that. But I would say that's generally true of me. I think of theater. You know, the Greeks thought of it as a purge. Purge of the emotions, and I do think that is a big part of it. That is what you're trying to do to your audience, is really get them to feel emotion, put them through something, so that when they leave, they are thinking about something. They are thinking about something that they weren't thinking about before they came to the theater. It stirred something in them, and they're having a discussion about it. You know, it hit chords. So I'm always trying to do that.
Wow, so it sounds like what you're saying is your ministry is to get people to talk about issues that they normally wouldn't talk about.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And if it stirs up something that, you know, you wouldn't have thought about, you wouldn't have talked about, if you're saying that, you know, I wouldn't have said, good, I give my prop. That's good.
Wonderful. So we're going to now watch a clip of Rope of Sand from Toni Seger. And thank you for coming on A Taste of Theater, where everyone is a star, including you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's wonderful to meet you.
Well, I want to talk to you some more, of course, get all your news and so on. But just now I have to do a few things. If you'll excuse me for a moment, just a few phone calls. It'll only take a moment. Oh, Peter, if the doorbell rings, will you answer it for me?
Are you expecting someone?
Oh, as a matter of fact, I am. Meredith called, said something about coming over this evening.
Meredith?
Yes, it must have slipped my mind.
I didn't even know she was in town.
Oh, it's only for a brief while, I guess. You know Meredith, she's never anywhere for very long. Gee, you two haven't seen each other in quite some time, have you?
No.
Good opportunity, then.
Why is she coming here?
Well, she said she had some things of William she thought we'd like to have. Nice gesture, don't you think?
Great.
Well, you don't mind, do you, Peter?
No, of course not. I like seeing Meredith. She's always good for a laugh.
Good. I won't be long.
Yes, Bill always felt left out.
Well, he was a lot younger. I don't think he felt left out exactly, just...
Younger.
Yes.
And very eager to be accepted by his older brother.
There's nothing unusual in that.
Only the intensity of it.
William always tried very hard. Everything he did, school, sports, he always tried very hard.
To be better than his brother.
To be as good.
Even though he was 10 years younger.
One can't help competing with an older sibling. It's only natural.
I suppose.
And as they got older, they worked it out.
Worked it out.
Oh yes, Peter and William worked all of that out long...
Before.
Yes. Of course, it's true. Peter does present some pretty stiff competition for anyone. He's done quite a bit with his life already.
Yes, the clinic sounds very impressive.
We always expected to see great things from you. From all of the young people in the family. I mean, admittedly, expectations are higher for a boy. But we always thought you to be pretty remarkable.
How do you know I haven't?
How's that?
How do you know I haven't done anything noteworthy with my life?
Oh, well, we don't, do we? You tend to be pretty closed about what you do. Maybe you're winning all kinds of prizes you're not telling us about.
No, no prizes. Still painting?
From time to time, I dabble a bit.
This is quite nice.
Yes, I rather like that one myself. Gave it a very prominent spot, as you can see.
When did you paint it? I don't believe I've ever seen it before.
No? Well, let me see. It's been some time. No, I really can't recall. Probably the last good thing I've done, though.
Working on anything now?
No, not with, you know.
Maybe it would help. Relieve your mind or something.
No, I don't think so.
They say sometimes you produce your best work when you're the most depressed.
Well, that may be true for some people, the great artists. I just paint for pleasure, pass the time, that sort of thing.
Sure.
I also paint to produce beauty. You can't make beauty out of...
Pain? I don't know. Didn't Keats say, beauty is truth and truth beauty? It's one of the most famous lines in all poetry.
Well, it's a beautiful poetic line, but...
But it's not true? Then how can it be beautiful?
By Keats's definition?
All right, give me an example of something beautiful that's also false.
Well, what if we didn't agree on the beauty of it, or the falseness?
I don't believe the truth is such an arbitrary thing.
People disagree about it all the time.
We agree on this painting. It's a starting point.
Yes, and why go further? It's nice to agree on something.
Why not go further? Why stop at sunsets and baskets of fruit?
Well, I like sunsets and baskets of fruit.
Oh, yes, of course. I do too, but beauty can be many things. Maybe more than we can realize.
If we can't realize them, how can we appreciate them?
I mean, not immediately realize. Like those things we would normally turn away from. Pain, for instance.
I don't know about that. It's not the sort of thing I tend to think about.
No.
And I don't know that I'd like to. It's not very pleasant to dwell on such things.
Perhaps to try and understand them.
I don't know that people ever do understand anything in that way. I don't know that's the place.
Art, not art's place.
My art, or my idea of art.
Which is?
I like to make people feel better when they look at my paintings, not worse. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
People don't learn anything from what's thrust on them, forced on them. Political change is a good example. Besides, if you were surrounded by beautiful things that made you feel good just by looking at them, wouldn't that be nice?
I guess it just comes back to that definition business again. Elvira take her flute with her?
No. She did go in for a rest after all. But there was a recital just before. Quite lovely, actually. Now there's beauty for you, or maybe you would have called the music sappy, perhaps?
Only if it were.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, I don't.
Well, there's always been a way. As a young person, you were always so serious. You never seemed to like movies with happy endings, things like that. Remember?
Only when they were contrived.
But audiences go to plays and movies to be emotionally manipulated, don't they? The Greeks talked about that. The catharsis of emotion and so forth.
Escapism isn't cathartic, Carl.
But people need an escape from their daily lives, from the pain of it. They need things that will help them to feel better.
But you can't really escape anything watching a movie. You can only pretend.
Well, yes.
Then how does it help?
Don't read so much into it and it will.
No, not for me.
You shouldn't set yourself apart like that, Meredith.
Should I lie then?
Well, what about those things that do end happily, naturally? What about those?
A happy ending with truth in it? Very beautiful. Any minute now you're going to tell me I'm too negative.
Well, there is a certain amount of acceptance of things as they are that normally comes with time that you've never shown.
But you're the one trying to escape, Carl, not me. Sorry.
You used to call me uncle. Well, it sounds as though you've been giving this matter of art a great deal of thought. You used to paint quite well. Doing it anymore?
A little.
Recently?
Yes, I was working on something just before I came.
Oh, something beautiful, perhaps.
I don't know. At times I've thought so.
Well, gee, I'd love to see it.
I don't know that you would.
Well, it could be quite good. Maybe you should be more assertive about it.
I don't know.
Well, tell me what the subject matter is.
Death. The idea, it was because of Bill.
Yes, I see.
You don't want to hear about it.
Well, if you feel you need to...
I needed to understand what happened.
Yes, I see. I don't know that's the way... I suppose that's where all your questions about art and beauty come from.
Some?
Did you think the painting was beautiful?
I did at times.
Oh, was it a portrait of William?
Not exactly. I painted the noose.
Oh, my God.
I didn't mean to upset you with all this. It's hard to explain now why I thought it would help you to know. I guess I wished you'd been there with me.
Well, you painted it?
Yes, seen what I went through. I guess it's impossible to convey now.
I'm sure you felt a great number of things.
I don't even know how it started. I'm not even sure I knew at the time. But once I'd started, it quite took me over.
Yes?
That's why I missed the funeral.
You don't have to explain.
No, it's the painting. I wanted to tell you about the painting.
You have.
No, it was the way I painted it. Or it painted itself. I can't really be sure. You see, I painted it with sand. First, I layered the paint with dots. But when I couldn't get what I wanted from the paint, I used actual sand.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I've gotten ahead of myself. It was a poem I'd read at the time that gave me the idea. It had the line, "Forsake thy cage, thy rope of sands."